How is it going, everyone? And it looks like the game that everybody has been waiting for as far as PlayStation is concerned may finally be getting an update, and I am of course talking about Insomniac Games' Marvel's Wolverine. I've been talking about a lot how I think 2026 really has the opportunity to be a bit of a bounce back year. Look, we took L after L on the live service games. You know, Naughty Dog cooked for years, Bluepoint cooked for years, this studio cooked for a year, Ben's studio cooked for 6 years, etc, etc. We've had years of rather lackluster PlayStation output, and I'm not saying 2026 is going to be a 2009 level year for PlayStation, but I do think it can be much better than 2024, than 2025, and then 2023. You know, we're 2023, we had Spider-Man 2. 2024, we literally only had Astrobot. You know, 2025, you have Yote coming out, and that's strictly first party. Of course, we've had some second party output as well. Stellar Blade, Death Stranding 2, so on and so forth. But 2026, I think if you get Saros, if you get Marvel Tokon from second party, Arc System Works, PlayStation published title, and then Marvel Wolverine as well, and maybe another smaller game, I think we're cooking with 2026. And as far as Wolverine goes, that's a game a lot of people have been skeptical on. Is this game actually making progress? What is the status of this game? Well, insider gaming sources have revealed that Insomniac Games' Wolverine is ready to be shown off for the first time officially since the 2021 PlayStation Showcase. Why I find this so interesting is that this would put it at the same timeline that Ghosts of Yote was revealed last year, and guess what? Yote was set up to be the big fall game release for the following year. Maybe that's the cadence that Sony wants to go with going forward, where, you know, you have these games in your back pocket, let's reveal them and let's give updates on them the year before they're ready to be revealed. That's why I think, like, in Intergalactic, maybe we'll get an update on that next fall, where that'll set up a fall 2027 release, and so on and so forth. According to sources who wish to remain anonymous as they couldn't talk about company plans, PlayStation is currently planning its next state of play towards the end of September. Other sources revealed that Insomniac Games' Wolverine is almost certainly going to be at the event, as the production of its next trailer has now been completed. If the game doesn't appear at State of Play, then the trailer will undoubtedly be released in the next few months, with the Game Awards being the likely next candidate. Obviously, Wolverine faced some issues as far as a ransomware attack in December of 2023, and what the other titles that State of Play could feature. There's that Metroidvania God of War title, there's Marathon from Bungie as well. We'll see how that'll turn out, and Insider Gaming has it on good authority that a mainline God of War is also in development. That's just something I feel like, you know, you can look at every other franchise, Uncharted even. God of War is something that I feel is PlayStation's Halo. There are other franchises you can bench for a while. You can bench an Uncharted. You can bench even Last of Us. God of War and Kratos, in my opinion, is so emblematic to PlayStation that benching God of War, honestly, would just be business malpractice. And could they do it and get away with it? Sure. But it's not something that I think they should be doing. And I would focus on Wolverine being the big closing game out of that State of Play, whether it's a State of Play or a showcase. But it's also time to get that gameplay demo going of Saros, man. I want to see Saros, and I thought Saros had such a poor reveal earlier this year. You're revealing Housemarque's new game, Housemarque's brand new title, a studio that's built on its incredible gameplay. And we get a CG trailer that tells us very little of anything. Again, I get it if they do a gameplay demo and it blows everybody away, which I expect it to do, because that's what Housemarque does. Their gameplay is tremendous, but that is why people should get excited about Housemarque games. It's all on the gameplay, where I thought doing a CG trailer for Saros was just completely nonsensical. But, you know, I get that that's a little bit of a hot take. You know, people are still excited for that game, but that's all I want out of PlayStation. I want 2 big games out of first party a year. I'm not asking for the world. I'm not asking for a billion. Is me asking for an Infamous HD collection or a Ratchet Future HD collection? I mean, those games were in HD, but you get it, a remastered collection of those games. Is that me asking for the world? Is me asking for PlayStation's incredible first party lineup, for them to have 2 games a year, you know, one in the early portion of the year and one at the latter portion of the year? A Saros at the, you know, first half of the year and Wolverine at the second half of the year? No, this is very baseline expectation stuff. Look at Nintendo's output. Nintendo's output is absolute insanity in comparison to PlayStation these days. You know, Nintendo's not chasing that live service bag as hard as PlayStation, to be fair, but You get the idea. I look at what Nintendo's offering as far as their first party goes with their output this year, and it's just insanity compared to PlayStation. I'm not saying even PlayStation needs to get to that level, but we can do better than what's been available, and Wolverine would really set the tempo right and get PlayStation a little bit back on track. And I've said it before, I don't think they're done with live service. Far from it. You guys have to realize PlayStation is desperate for that gravy train, much like a lot of other publishers. I think it's going to take a couple more L's. I think Fair Game has to completely bomb. I think Marathon has to completely bomb. We need to get a couple. The struggle isn't over yet, you guys. That's what I'm saying. We need to have a couple of complete and total failures, like Concord, for Sony to completely, you know, be like, all right, maybe this live service adventure, maybe like Horizon isn't an IP we can translate into live service that strongly, or maybe they can. Maybe they'll find another Helldivers and maybe they'll be good to go. But man, what I want out of Sony is more Marvel Wolverine with Sorrows. You know, it would be nice if they go back to Uncharted. It would be nice if they utilize some of these incredible IPs that they just have in their back pocket. Sly Cooper, Jack and Daxter. And I'm not saying throw the typical $200, $300 million budget that Sony does with a lot of their first-party games, but there must be a way to scale these games back, do quality games that aren't gonna break the bank in terms of what their budget is. I don't know. I get it that Wolverine, Spider-Man, those are games that you gotta really push the financial constraints on, and you gotta spend a lot of money on those games, especially with the licensing and so on and so forth. But I do feel like there could be room for other games, especially when you're releasing your games on PC now. That's an opportunity to make more revenue, but at the very least, I really hope this state of play sets up for a good 2026. And I've been talking about this going back to like last year, that 2025 was gonna be a quiet year. 2024 was gonna be a quiet year. It's gonna take PlayStation a couple of years to cook a little bit and have a year where they have some decent output, but 2026 has to be that year. 2023, one game in Spider-Man 2. 24, one game in Astrobot. 25, one game in Yote. When you're talking about straight first-party output, next year, let's get two. Let's get a smaller game in there. Let's get some remasters that people might actually want, and let's, you know, release those live service games, and let's just have them bomb, and let's just move away from the fair games and the marathons and whatever. You already know what I'm excited for when it comes to PlayStation's output, but they're gonna do their live service stuff. I don't think that's gonna turn out fairly well, but I do think 26 is an opportunity to get at least somewhat back on track. Not all the way back on track, but somewhat back on track. And we're 5 years deep into this generation, 6 years come next year. But if we get Wolverine and Sorrows, I really do think, as far as true next-gen titles, next year might be the best year for PlayStation 5 games and games that will actually sell you on the console in terms of PlayStation's first-party output. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.